Today I want to talk about being a miraculous maestro for the world. So I'm going to chat a bit about being a maestro, as in I use the term maestro because it infers a bit more collective. And I think that we can all activate the miraculous for the world. I think we can do that individually, but I think when we do that collectively, something extraordinary happens. And that's like my favorite thing ever to do. So I talked in yesterday's video in the Awesomeness of New about the difference between activating transformation and activating the miraculous. I'll say activating and actualizing transformation and the miraculous, and how they're different for me. When I'm working with transformation, I'm working with a being. When I'm working with the miraculous, I'm working with the field. Now, I'm talking about the miraculous in the world, not so much working with the miraculous body, although I suppose any of that would apply across. And but there are a million different ways of doing it, so don't think it's the only one. You want to find your access to the miraculous. But working as a miraculous maestro, now maestro kind of means orchestrating to me. Do you see what I mean? It's not just about being masterful. It's about orchestrating something. So when I'm working with my super buddies, my other players in the wondrous orchestra of us all, when we're working together, we work in what I call collaborative genius fusion, or mastery fusion as well, or shared mastery is another way of talking about it. So what happens when we come together to be miraculous maestros together, no one is leading the charge. In fact, if I'm facilitating that, one of the things I have to be sure to do is not direct it too much. Because if I direct it, I might be throwing these masters off the power of their contribution. So what I do when I am facilitating us working as miraculous maestros is I simply say, okay, let's pick a focus. We might use the world as a focus in the field of the quantum field, let's say, or the universal field. And we might put the world as a focus. But even then I would say, but if you're called to do something other than with the world, do that. Because they have to have complete freedom and flexibility to follow their own instincts, their own mastery, their own power, and bring to it the greatest contribution that is theirs to bring. Then we align all together as a collective. And that's really interesting to do, because you can come to things as a bunch of masters standing in a kind of circle with a similar intention. That's one thing. But the moment you align as a collective, it is like, it's the difference between an orchestra with everybody playing their own part, but not having any sense of the whole, and the whole playing together in harmony and unity, and amazing how the whole comes together and creates exponential genius. So when we align as a collective, then there's something synergistic that starts to happen. And then we align for miraculous activation and miraculous outcomes. But we have to have no agenda, no expectations, no idea what we're going to do, what the outcomes are. Because if we bring that in, we're bringing in something known, something that we already understand. And instead, what we have to do is we surrender ourselves into the becoming, into the intention, into the activation. And then we activate the miraculous, or we call the miraculous, or, for me, it always kind of comes like out of the deep core of us all. For others, it might come through the earth. For others, it comes from the universe. For others, it comes out of the omniverse and black holes and And isn't that wonderful? There's no one right way to do this. There's a million different ways to do this. But what happens when you're aligned as a collective, and there's this beautiful resonance and unification in you for an intention, that something beautifully synergistic happens in the field. Now, I tend to think that the miraculous is kind of, it's like a dream that God, source, creator, universe has dreamed up newly for us. But I don't even know if it's that concrete. I don't think it's like that. You could look at it and say, oh, it's this. So what happens when we become miraculous maestros and we work as a collective and we power it through all together, we activate the miraculous. This one will do this piece. This one will do this piece. So one might work with the earth, another with nature, another with the stars, another with the universe, another with the omniverse, another with black holes, another with the miraculous itself, another with the quantum field. And every piece that is contributed is like a kaleidoscope forming a brilliant, perfect picture. But none of us know what that picture is when we begin. The best thing to do is surrender to the miraculous and activate and actualize it. So you become a source of it, but it's coming from some dream of the universes for us all. And what I find that happens when you activate as miraculous maestros, as a collective, that this awesome synergy happens. And it's like a collective alchemy, ALLchemy, where it swirls together and it ripples across many facets of life. So if I'm activating the miraculous into something, then what happens, or I say we activating, because I'm talking about that at the moment. So if we do that, then let's say we took our focus as resolving the plastic circumstances in the world, but with no intention for how we do that, or no understanding of the outcomes, or no agenda about it, not even any judgment about plastics. We have to be judgment free in order to come into it in the first place, and then surrender into what's what. And what would happen when we do that? We might see some things, we might get some ideas, but what would happen is over here, some teenager will come up with some brilliant genius idea. Nature will pop up some fungi that eats plastic, and over here, this guy gets this beautiful idea of how to take things out of the water, and then you've seen people like who are building roads out of plastic because they'll last for a very long time, and reusing them to make new boats. And those are just some of the outcomes that just pop out of the genius of us all. It's not like we came up with that idea or we did that, but we unleashed the miraculous possibilities for solutions that nobody's thought of yet. And that's our work as miraculous maestros. It's not our work to go do all the work of the plastic. It's our work to unleash the genius and the mastery and the power in the collective and in the universe and in the quantum field for everyone to find their way to their genius masterful contribution. And that's what miraculous maestros are about. And that's how we operate as a collective. And none of us is less than any other one of us. We are all masters. We are all geniuses. We are all the universe. We are all the source. We are all the earth, nature, the quantum field, any of it, all of it. And so what we do is we just activate, call, burst the miraculous into the world, into the universe, so that it can show up in a myriad of wondrous ways. So there you have it. That's how we play in and as miraculous maestros. So if that interests you, I'm running right now a collective alchemy group. I got another one starting in March. And then once you've completed that, then we have a Miraculous Maestros group where we do this work for the world on 2 calls a week on a weekly basis. Forever. At least that's the intention. To turn the world out miraculously. So there you go. If you're interested in any of that, message me or go to solaragreen.com and look up the Collective Alchemy menu bar on the side. Okay, that's it for today. May you all have a miraculous, wonderful day, year, life. Lots of love, everybody. Bye.